Good afternoon, everyone. By this time, you might have seen and heard various modules for the WCO Summit Week 2020. But we won't let this day pass without sharing with you a topic that we consider as one of the pillars of a compliance framework. It's the proposed WESM Industry Code of Ethics. More than just a set of policies and procedures, effective compliance within the power industry can be viewed as a cultural ethic that should function like any other business asset that reaches across this industry. This code is viewed as essential in 1. Promoting a culture of compliance to the WESM rules. 2. Fairness in dealings among WESM members and participants and other stakeholders. And 3. Fostering an efficient, transparent, and a level playing field in the electricity market. And I think that we would all agree that fairness promotes healthy and sustainable competition, right? So let's now go to each section of the proposed Code of Ethics. The proposed Code of Ethics has two main sections: its applicability and the principles embodied in this code. Let's go to the first one. To whom does this code apply? This should apply to all parties transacting, as well as those that are overseeing the operations and the governance of the WESM, operating or providing service in the WESM. To be more specific, they are the following: the generation companies or the trading participants, customers, network service providers, metering service providers, ancillary service providers, distribution utilities, and end users, the Transmission Corporation of the Philippines or Transco, or its buyer or concessionaire, the Independent Power Producers Administrators, the system operator, presently, the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, the market operator, presently, the Independent Electricity Market Operator of the Philippines Incorporated, or IMOP, the Philippine Electricity Market Corporation, and the WESM governance committees within PEMC. It covers basically all WESM stakeholders, including the board of directors, board committees, management and its officers, traders and compliance officers, the employees and staff, or agents, and their successors. Now that we know who will be covered by this Code of Ethics, let us proceed with the discussion of each principle as provided in the Code. First principle: honesty and integrity. The WESM stakeholders shall observe the highest standards and foster a culture of honesty, transparency, integrity, fairness, and competence in all dealings. They shall not commit anti-competitive, fraudulent, and deceitful practices in any form, and uphold free and fair competition. They shall not deliberately provide incorrect, misleading, or false information or data to relevant electricity industry authorities or regulators, the market operator, the system operator, or the WESM governance committees for whatever purpose. They shall aspire to preserve and improve the WESM, including all its instrumentalities and processes at all times. And lastly, they shall honor and abide by all of their obligations, financial or otherwise, to the WESM and other WESM stakeholders, as a vital element of their participation and responsibilities to the WESM. It's easy to understand, isn't it? Well, this old saying that honesty is the best policy has been ringing in our ears time and again. So, let's now proceed to the next principle. Principle number 2, fairness and level playing field. All WESM stakeholders shall at all times place the common interests of the WESM above their own self-interest. And this means that they shall avoid entering into any kind of agreement and transaction with any party that will be inimical to the interest of the WESM, or create actual and potential conflicts of interest. Also, they shall not utilize or take advantage of insider information at the expense of other WESM stakeholders, whether gathered or obtained within or outside of the WESM. WESM stakeholders shall not propose or implement schemes or arrangements that shall frustrate the objective of free and fair competition and level playing field Fairness means equal treatment or an absence of bias. That's the second principle. Now, moving on to the third one. It's accountability and discipline. Well, it says that all WESM stakeholders shall also observe proper decorum when dealing with other WESM stakeholders or when representing the WESM. And they shall maintain awareness of the corresponding accountabilities of a WESM stakeholder. A great author, Bob Proctor, said that accountability is the glue that ties commitment to the result, and this is so true. Do you agree? Let us now proceed to the next principle. Reports, information disclosure, and confidentiality. What this principle is saying is that all WESM stakeholders shall timely submit reports, data, and documents, as may be required by the Department of Energy, the Energy Regulatory Commission, the Philippine Competition Commission, the WESM Governance Committees, PEMC, or the market operator. They shall likewise act with prudence in the disclosure of all forms of data and communication that may impact market outcomes. They shall respect the confidentiality of market information as provided for in applicable laws, WESM rules, market manuals, or other relevant regulations. And finally, they shall disclose to the market operator information that has come to their knowledge that may have, or potentially have, an adverse impact on WESM stakeholders and the market at large, subject to the existing rules on privileged information and confidentiality. Okay, we're halfway through this set of principles. Let's now discuss the fifth principle: compliance with laws, rules, policies, and regulations. Well, this one, I guess, is self-explanatory. It says that all WESM stakeholders shall promote a culture of compliance, and they shall uphold all the applicable laws, rules, manuals, and other regulations that govern the market. And just like the parents who sometimes overemphasize the need for children to be good, our regulators and policymakers also do this with respect to compliance. Sixth principle: reporting of unlawful and unethical behavior. Under this principle, all WESM stakeholders shall immediately report in writing to the DOE any and all unlawful, improper, and unethical activities committed or about to be committed by other WESM stakeholders that may come to their knowledge, so that the same may be investigated, or appropriate action may be taken thereon by the DOE. The department may, however, refer the same to the relevant authorities, if necessary. The next principle is something that we should embody in every business thing we do: professionalism. Based on this principle, WESM stakeholders shall strive for advancement and excellence within their own respective organization, in connection with their respective membership or involvement in the WESM, through continuing education and trainings, either individually or collectively. Additionally, all WESM stakeholders shall participate actively in all WESM activities and programs. We heard this a lot of times. Professionalism is knowing what to do, how to do it, and doing it. We are now down to the last two principles, and these are equally important as the other principles that I've mentioned earlier. They are the compliance with this code of ethics and penalties for violation thereof. All WESM stakeholders shall continually be aware and updated, and fully understand the provisions of this code, and warrant that they shall strictly comply with the code's provisions as they undertake their daily WESM activities. All of these are being done for a better, fair, transparent, and efficient WESM. The violation of any provision of this code shall be subject to the corresponding penalties as may be provided under the WESM rules, market manuals, or other WESM-related regulations or issuances. Okay, let's have a recap of the principles provided in the proposed Code of Ethics. This time, let's remember them by heart. Honesty and integrity. Fairness and level playing field. Accountability and discipline. Reports, information disclosure, and confidentiality. Compliance with laws, rules, policies, and regulations. Professionalism. Reporting of unlawful and unethical behavior. Compliance with the Code of Ethics. And the principle of penalty. So there you have it, the proposed WESM Industry Code of Ethics. This was initiated by the Market Surveillance Committee with a vision that this would set common ethical standards and promote consistency in behavior among the stakeholders within the power industry. A code that builds trust. This code is currently being reviewed by the Department of Energy. That's the end of this module. Thank you for listening once again. Have a nice day, everyone.